Okay, folks. Hope y'all are having a good day. Having a pretty okay day. Alright, getting my levels all dialed in here so we can enjoy a little bit of game time. Brighten it up a little bit. It kind of muted the blue. Oh, I don't have a wall lamp on. I'm going to turn that on. Alright. Yeah. So normally streams are going to happen on Monday, Thursday, and then Saturday during the day. So Monday and Thursday nights. Now that didn't happen last night because, well, we got a lot going on. And I ended up staying up with my daughter pretty late. Kind of thought about like streaming from the PlayStation while like she played on the floor or something. But it didn't happen. It's okay. Screwed up the first week already. But it happens. You know, it's been a pretty stressful time. We've had basically my mother-in-law's health has been a big problem. She's basically on life support right now. And we don't know if she's going to make it. Yeah, they're trying to wake her up every day. And that's not going good. So in a couple of days, we're going to know whether we need to do, whether we need to, I don't know, pull the plug or not. So that's what we're dealing with over here. Not something we really anticipated with heart surgery. I mean, heart surgery can go that way, but you always think that somebody's going to die like on the operating table, not basically have this decline after surgery and have to have all these significant medical interventions. If she does come out of this, right now she's intubated. We don't know. We don't know if she'll like be back to her normal self or what that's going to be, like what her life's going to be, or if she's going to need care or something, if she's going to be mentally or physically able to actually recover. And the thing about her heart, they went in and basically did a kind of an angiogram where they put like a camera in the basically in the heart to see what's there. And they found a bunch of blockages. And this was, I guess, due to she had radiation treatment at this point more than 30 years ago for Hodgkin's disease, which is lymphoma. It's a cancer. And that radiation causes all kinds of other health problems, including she has really diminished lung capacity. It's why we were very worried about coronavirus, because if she got coronavirus, it could very easily kill her. Well, we're dealing with some of those problems. She's on ventilator now, and she's out of it. Like, she's completely sedated. The doctor wouldn't let her leave the hospital after he did that angiogram, because he's like, you could basically just drop dead of like the widowmaker, one of the arteries they called a widowmaker heart attack. My high school band director had a heart attack in this artery right after I graduated high school. He's still around. He survived it. And he was really healthy. Like, he exercised and everything. It was just like a freak clot in that artery. And so that was basically fully blocked. And she was fatigued all the time. Doctor was like, you could drop dead at any minute if we don't fix this. So, we weren't quite aware of how severely impacted her heart was, but that's kind of what's going on there. I do appreciate prayers. Yeah, Final Fantasy II's aesthetic, it is somewhat Spanish. I kind of feel that too. Like, and when I say Spanish, I mean I think of like Renaissance Spanish, or maybe even like Northern Italian. The Mediterranean styles of that time period were kind of distinctive and pretty cool. Now live on your channel. Good to know, YouTube. Thank you for sending me the email to let me know that there's something live on my channel. I appreciate it. All right, we can play a little bit, have fun. So anyway, yeah, these things are normally going to happen Monday, Thursday, and then Saturday, 1 p.m. Pacific, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. So there's, a little bit of time difference. I think for my friends in Europe, it's like morning. So it's like an early morning, Saturday morning stream, and then it'll be middle of the night stream for the next one. So I'll stream again in, I don't know, 13 hours, and that'll be fun. So anyway, that's what's been going on. It's been pretty hectic. I have gotten some music done. I did a piece of music which I didn't really like, but I kind of considered it a warm-up, you know? Like the first, you know, you're kind of dusting off the chops. You know, so you dust off the chops, and the first one you do is just not, you know, just not very good. And that's okay. So you can hear the music. All right, there we go. We're in the middle of a battle here. So I've been playing a lot of my beta, and that's, let me progress the story. Yeah, the first one I didn't feel like was that good, but that's okay. You know, you kind of dust it off, and you got to get back into practice. Second one I wrote last night. I still need to do some work on it. So, you know, I don't know. I'll probably have a preview ready to go for the stream tomorrow. You know, a rough mix. There's no mixing done, like no panning or anything. I'm just still laying in all the instrumental tracks for it. And that should be done. And so if I include the first song, I'm like 6 or 8 minutes in, which is okay, I guess. There we go. All right. Now I'll tell you what I did off stream for this. So you have to go get these masks and then get this rod to unlock this tower to catch Minwoo. And so I got the masks and I got the rod. And so here I am. I'm going to stay at the inn here. I also did one of the bonus dungeons. There's 2 bonus dungeons. I don't know if I cleared out one of them or not, but you just use a bunch of words that you've learned and it spawns different dungeons. So I don't know if we want to do more of that or just probably get on with the story. I did get like a new sword, a sun sword, which is pretty good. Did you see the newest Final Fantasy using photographed miniatures in their game? I saw some screenshots. Do you think more games might use this in other games? Probably not, because it's probably more work to do it that way. You know, you gain something from that, but it's also more time intensive. You know, they did that with like Clay Fighter in the 90s, and it had a cool aesthetic, but maybe more than it's worth. Now, a fun fact is that the sprites from Doom were made out of 3D models. So they 3D modeled like the monsters in Doom and then turned them into sprites, and that's how they got the design for that. Turn that up so I can hear it a little bit better. Here we go. Now we're going to, I think this is the tower over here. Been seeing a lot of folks in my literature versus film class touting concepts like collaboration regarding films like Shawshank Redemption. The end was deliberately changed by the production company. Thoughts? I don't really have any thoughts about that in particular, or Shawshank Redemption. I don't know if that even qualifies as collaboration. I mean, a movie is always a collaborative endeavor because it takes a village to make a movie. It's very labor intensive and it requires a lot of people. So the usual flow for a movie in terms of collaboration is screenwriter or screenwriters, and then you have whoa, something's happening here. Usually a lot of people write in screenwriting teams. I've done it. I think it's much easier to write screenwriting team than write a novel as a team. Oh, whoa, we're in like hell here. Got sucked straight into hell. Where are we? We're in hell. Alex Jones. Layla's missing. Oh, she left with my equipment too. My equipment! My precious equipment. Any interesting facts about the Templars you can drop? I know you're fascinated with the subject. So when the Templars were basically wiped out in a significant and swift political coup. And like they cursed the king of France and everybody who did it to them, and all their curses like came true, which is kind of interesting. You know, they were like the bankers of the medieval world. That's how they gained power, is by leveraging money. Kind of interesting. But it also made them a target for a lot of the elites. Now, they accused them of things like the official accusations are like ridiculous. Like in order to be initiated into the Templars, you had to like kiss another man's navel and kiss another man on the lips. So they basically accused them of homosexuality. And a lot of them just like confessed and fessed up to it, and then later recanted. And this was a thing with medieval secular religious, the way the secular authorities enforced the religion, they were executed as relapsed heretics. So if you committed heresy, if you became a heretic and basically twist headband obtained from the chest, that might be good. Let's see what we got here. Twist headband. Oh, that is good. You know, if you went back and then said what you confessed that you said was wrong, then they would execute you as a relapsed heretic, and that's how they got most of them. So, like, they were permitted to live if they confessed that they, like, kissed each other's navels and did all this stuff. And they also, you know, got guys to say that, like, you know, the leadership of the Templars said it's more preferable to have sex with a man than a woman because of some BS thing. It was all, you know, nowadays we can look at it and be like, this is, you know, this is clearly garbage, right? Let's see here. Power Sash. Raises attack, but way lower strength. That might be good for him. It way lowers defense. We don't really need it, though. We already have Black Garb there. I mean, he could use it. I mean, he turned into, like, mega mode. But see, yeah, it barely raises attack. Because it just doesn't do that much, so we're not going to put it on. So yeah, that's how they got him. And they would burn him at the stake. A lot of the details of the specific names are not coming to me right now because it's been a long time since I read any books on it. The Templars were actually not very effective in battle. And they were ineffective in battle because they didn't believe in retreat. You know, they had a very, like, this warrior ethos of, like, never retreat. Problem with never retreat is that... Ooh, did you see what we went in through? Look at that thing. We're inside of some kind of fire-breathing monster. Oh, there's some old people that live inside this thing. It's Mario and Luigi, the inside story. Ooh, a dragoon. Let's look over here first. We're inside Leviathan's stomach. Oh, so that's not lava, it's like stomach acid, I guess. Yeah, let's go up here. Talk to this guy. Leviathan swallowed us all. Power armlet. Let's check that one. So that's pretty good. Alright. They weren't, so yeah, they would not retreat, and instead they'd get captured, and they'd have, you know, the masters of the Knights Templar was always getting captured and ransomed back by the Muslims and stuff. Yeah, they just weren't a very, like, effective battle force. They gained power, really, in Europe by managing they owned a lot of land, they had a lot of land donated to them, and they were able to basically act as a bank because they had so many deposits spread out that you could go to the Knights Templar with basically a deposit slip, and they could operate as a bank. They could give you gold, or they could, you know, write a note for someone else as like a secure line of, you know, basically a way that you secure credit. This is the way deposits work, is that in a bank you write a check and the person takes the check to their bank and that bank recognizes that your bank is a secure creditor and then credits your account, and it's all basically imaginary deposit trading. If that makes any sense. Like the actual money doesn't move around. It's all imaginary. Based on the credit that somebody can get actual cash when they actually need to. So who are you? Darkness. Tundra? Ultimate Tome. Where'd you hear about that? Mask. Mysidia? I've been to Mysidia, a town full of mages. Dragoons. Nope. As a matter of fact, I am a dragoon. What? The dragoons and the wyverns have all been destroyed? That's absurd. We have to show him the... And we'll ask about the wyverns. Wyverns, what about them? What's with you people? Let's see if there's anything else that he might know about. Goddess Bell? Wild Rose? No. Sunfire? No. Alright, so let's show him the medal that we have to prove that we are a dragoon. Where is it? Pendant. There we go. Nothing happens. Well, that didn't do anything. So, anyway, yeah, that's how the Knights Templar really gained powers. It was mostly had to do with money. They were secure. It was a secure way to transfer deposits between physical locations. They also had more success, I think, in the Spanish theater. You know, most of the time when we think about the Crusades, we just think about the Middle East. We don't think about the Reconquista of Iberia. Let's see if we have anything down here. White mask, black mask, knight's armor. Wait, is that it? Crystal rod. Oh, so you guys were after the ultimate tome too when you got swallowed up. Well, since we're looking up for the same thing, we might as well team up. There's a boat up ahead, but there's also one tough monster standing in our way. Who knows? Together we might be able to take it down. Sweet, we get it. The Dragoon Ricard joins the party. Sweet. Been watching reviews of Lord of the Rings and Hobbit with your friend Jay. What's up? What's he up to these days? He's teaching. And he hasn't come out with a book in quite a while, so I don't know. It's not waste fair, it's advanced waste fair. Let's see here. This guy is really weak. Look at him. Man, he's got like... The Flame Lance is pretty... Like, he's got good stuff on. But man, like, look at his low HP. He's gonna have to level up quick. Let's talk to this girl. Right when Leviathan opens its mouth, there's a second where you could escape, but there's just too many monsters. We were swallowed whole. And like they built themselves a little life here inside this monster. It's disgusting. Oh, this is just great, isn't it? Are we supposed to live out the rest of our lives in here? Well, I don't know. Let's see if there's anyone else over here. None of this would have ever happened to us if it weren't for that old man and his stupid crystal rod. 10 years I've been living here. There's no way out. I'm sure of it. The sooner you give up and accept it, the easier it'll be for you. What are they eating? Are they just maybe like taking spoonfuls out of the Leviathan stomach and eating it? Leviathan is the beast that protects the seal of the tower. It looks like it swallowed up anyone who has a crystal rod. See, I've got a crystal rod right here. Just like go through the acid. Square really was ahead of their time. Let's see if I missed some stuff here. Instead of a music challenge, I'm challenging myself to write a story. Okay, for a game that I'm making this month. Good. OG Romans had it right. I don't care. Just pay taxes. Well, I mean, it was literally tribute. They show up and be like, you have to give us money. Well, we don't want to give you money. Legions are coming. Okay, we'll give you money. Yes, there's your tribute. Yeah, I need to level this guy up with some, like... This guy's gonna get hit hard right now. Look. Boom. At least he hits hard. Like, he still hits pretty hard. Yeah, we got inside the Leviathan, going to the tower with the crystal rod. I want to play a JRPG where the heroes are a group of weirdos who have no business in saving the world, but they do it anyway. I'm sure there's one that's like that. I think that's like every Final Fantasy game, though. It's a bunch of weirdos. Yeah, it's, hurt you. There we go. Look at these teeth. Gaia Blade, ooh. It's, I can use he has the Sun Blade right now. See if the Gaia Blade is any better. Gaia Blade. No, it's worse. It casts Quake, though, so that's kind of cool. Yep, it's not as good as that. I think he has a little bit of sword skill, but it's not as good as the Ogre Killer. Yeah, so it's not... I guess we could just use it to cast Quake. Morning. Maybe where you're at. Yeah, let's actually... we'll take some time and we'll get this stuff going here. We have maybe Shell and slow, and then he can level up his attack. We also have a bunch of tomes. We should teach him some magic real quick too. He has a whopping 5 MP. That's lovely. He has good equipment though. It's just like I think he's more or less like the level that they expect you to be at this point, and like my guys are just, you know, super high level. Here we go. Flare. Take some time to level this up. Get his attack up. Alex Jones needs to be a video game character. He needs to be. He is. He's the leader of this party. Okay. Finish that drink. I have a Coke Zero here too. Always come prepared. Good boy. Yeah, he's getting rocked. Yeah, let's cure him. Now that I got Osmos, like, Mary Sue has infinite mana, which is nice. We have Protect on these guys? I don't remember if I cast it or not. Level 6 Cure, that should pump him up. There he goes. Miss. It's like he can't even hit my guys, and when you do, they don't hit for anything. Let's see if those guys have any mana. Cassandra type person, someone who foretells the future but no one believes it. That's me. Inside a large creature, this game beat Gears of War 2 by decades. I basically had a nightmare of the inside of this that I still remember very vividly from when I was a kid. Like, but we were in space, and like the inside of it was breathing, and there were other like weird alien creatures flying around inside of a creature like this. I look just like this. It's fairly Weird, you know? Let's teach our Dragoon friend some stuff, you know? Like, he can learn Berserk. Alright, he can learn... There's gotta be something else good in here to learn. He can level up his... Learn Thunder. And... Whoop. Blind, Warp, Blink, Curse, Toad, Aura. Aura's good. How much gil do I have? I didn't even keep track. It's like, I'm at like 1,000,000 gil now. Drain. Death. He doesn't need that. Death never works anyway. Fog, Mini. Maybe... Blink is good. You can cast that. So he casts like 5 spells right now. Oh, we get to fight a roundworm. Let's see if there's another chest over here. Watch this. Defend. Oh, actually, we should level up their magic. Blind. We'll do death. And we'll do Aura. And he'll do... Instead of Aura, let's do Berserk. It just doesn't ever work. It just has such a low chance of working. You have to get it up to like death level 10 before it like works. And even then it won't work on bosses, so I don't know. I mean, it's not that bad. Let's do Blind. Let's do Break. Turn him to stone. Stop. And Toad. Thunder. He'll gain MP just from like doing this. Presume we'll have him for more than just this one fight, so probably... Hopefully it's not like a waste for me to give him spells. I'm gonna like two-shot that worm, I'm sure. Because my party's like uber powerful. Oh, that heals him. Interesting to know. Let's steal some mana from those guys. And we'll do... Link. A little bit more health. Yep. Full mana. At what point does an RPG have too many spells that redundancy becomes a problem? That's a good question. I think, honestly, I think this game is at that point. Like, there's so many spells, but, you know, you don't need most of them. The ones that are good are like, you know, protect, and future games do this. So, you know, there's like protect and, you know, shell and stuff like that. That work pretty good. Cure, like this one doesn't have 20 levels of cure, for instance. So I think you can really go overboard. Now, if you're playing a game like Skyrim, where you're making your own spells maybe, or actually like a game like Oblivion, then you never get that point because it's really easy to just avoid the spells you don't need. With this one, like having to go through a menu every single time gets a little bit redundant, you know? Those frogs falling like Kodama's at the end of Princess Mononoke when the forest spirit's head cut off. D&D 3.5 is... See, D&D 3.5 is the point where, like, the metagame stopped... The metagame really became about character builds and, like, selecting spells and multi-classing and all that kind of stuff. It's not bad. I don't think it's bad, but it's way different from, say, 1.0 or AD&D, where the meta was... just kind of more linear and more about survival as a character. Silence them. Cure. It's kind of easy here. Blind. We'll use his last MP here to cast Blink. Just level up our debuffs in case we want to use them sometime. Honestly, we're at the point in the game where, like, you really don't need to use debuffs because your characters are so powerful. They're gonna hit no matter what. They're gonna hit hard no matter what. You know, all the debuffs are just not really gonna matter all that much. You're one-shotting everything. D&D 3.5 was kind of like the Diablo 2 of tabletop RPGs. It's like all about the build. Oh, monster in a box. Oh, we get those. Just spam them. Red souls. These are really good to drain mana from. I wish I had like another Osmos tome so like all my guys could have Osmos and just suck the mana out of everything. It's basically have infinite mana. Thunder! Ricard, don't die! He has so little HP, you know? Going on there. Cure! Go. Fire. Yeah, debuffs are only good for long drawn out fights. I always find ending a fight as quickly as possible is the best solution. Yeah, you're right. So it's really only useful for like boss fights and stuff, but I haven't encountered a boss fight that I couldn't finish in like three rounds. Here it is, a roundworm. Make it past this thing and we can get the hell out of here on that boat. Here we go. I already fought one of these in like the extra dungeon, so they're actually really easy to beat. I'm just gonna hit him with flare and just spam attack. He's gonna die in like one round. Not all bosses are immune to debuffs. But that's pretty often, like, the ones, like, they're always immune to death, for instance. So death is really only good for, like, clearing out a big pack. Oops. There we go. Let's 1.5 rounds to beat that boss. All right, there we go. Okay, we're back on our boat, but we lost Layla. Now, I came here before and these guys, like, kicked my butt. So maybe they're, like, a little bit easier now. Curse! Curses! Well, they do, like, a drain there, huh? Alex Jones hitting pretty hard at that sun sword. Alright. Items. Let's use a... You know, it'd be like... Here, we'll just use a cottage. Heal up. Why not? Okay. Let's go ahead and save the game. Layla was really good. She had like 1500 HP. I assume she'll come back. All right, here we go. Crystal Rod, open the tower for me. Did you guys see that article in Time? You ever play any of the Etrian Odyssey games? Yes. I have some on the 3DS too. They're good. Get married, have babies, play games in basement. I wish I had a basement. Basements are too expensive to build in California. And no one does them anymore. Staff. Ooh, staff. Got a staff. I think this is like almost the exact layout from the Temple of the Fiends, Final Fantasy 1. Just started Final Fantasy VII Original, my first Final Fantasy game ever. Is physical attacks viable in the game? Yes. Yeah, of course. Well, because you only have so much mana either way, so you can't just like spam magic the whole time. Yeah, physical attacks are very good in the game. Yeah. You need to use physical attacks because you won't have enough mana to just do magic nonstop. Another staff. I wonder if we have to like put the staff somewhere. That'd be funny. Yeah, these bighorns are supposed to be like really hard to kill, but I'm just like spamming them down. No problem. No problemo. I really need to have everybody defend one round, and then I can get some level ups with the other guys. Yeah, if we just have like just like defend. Get some defend. So you get some HP level ups here for Mr. Ricard down there. With his 10 mana. It's really expensive to make them up to code. You know, when we actually looked at a house, I guess this is like, oh my god, 2014, 7 years ago. They had a basement because it was built in like 1915, but you never see houses built here with basements. It just never happens. Earthquake code has to be pretty strict because of the earthquakes here. So you can build a house with a basement, like they exist. Some people do it, but it's expensive, so most people don't do it. They just skip that, and instead they just have a slab. You just build it on a concrete slab. California is awesome. It just depends where you live. You know? Really, we should split the state into several different states. The cities make California bad. But I figured that out. Like, we're talking to people in the chat. I don't think anybody from any state says that their state isn't better minus the city. Like, the worst part of any given state in the union is the big city. If there's one big city, it's the worst part of the state. If there's more than one, it's always worse. Like, Texas is great except for Austin and Dallas and Houston. Well, yeah. except for those damn cities, Texas is great. Texas is the greatest state, but don't go to Dallas. I'm from Texas, so like that's how it is. California is great except for San Francisco and LA. They basically control the politics. It's like in Kern County, I've made this point before. All of Kern County's water gets piped over the Grapevine into LA. And Kern County gets none of its own water. If these were like separate little countries, like this would be a war thing. It's like you can't just take water from a neighboring. It's like we have to get Bakersfield has to get their water from further up north. Flame Bow, okay. Flame Lance, where do you have this stuff? Okay. From further up north and gets it like piped down. And then everything from Kern County just gets sent into LA because, people in LA. LA is really important. It's really important that they have to pay 10 cents or actually it's less than that. It's like 2 cents a gallon. And if people in Kern County, where all the water's from, have to pay like 25 cents a gallon or something. It's ridiculous how it works. Depends, something that my wife and I have actually now meaningfully talked about is like if her mom dies, like we're here because of family. That's the only reason. I mean, like before we had kids, it's like we wanted our kids to grow up around family. We got to be here to help take care of family. We're very family oriented. If my mother-in-law dies, I don't know what. We've talked about much more meaningfully about just, moving out of the state, moving back to Texas or somewhere else. Because the politics here are really bad, even though we live in the Texas of California. It's like Austin is like little California. Where I live, it's like little Texas. It's very nice. Everybody around me is exactly the same as I am. And that's how I like it. It's very homogenous. At least, like, ideologically homogenous, we'll put it that way. Which I think the coming... Oh my gosh, werewolves. It's not just Nestle doing that with water. I mean, Aquafina, if you buy Aquafina, which is Coca-Cola, it's Fresno tap water. It's just Fresno tap water. And that's what it is. I remember figuring that out at the Aquafina plant. It's like, what is this? It's Fresno tap water that you're paying $1.25 for. And Fresno doesn't have the worst tap water in the world, but it's tap water. All right, nothing in this room except a monster. Vampire girls, sexy. I think fire like wrecks these guys, so let's try fire. I know if you use osmos on them, they take your mana, so you really don't want that. They have little red eyes too. I don't know if you guys can see the sprites. They're pretty cool. Cool sprite here. Fire, 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 and you can just attack. Ricard. But if my mother-in-law dies, I don't see my father-in-law doing too good. So, if they're both gone, I don't know what we'll do. We still have like a lot of family here that we care about. But I think it's going to get, I've been in California now for 30 years. Most of my life. By far most of my life. With like a couple years that I lived in Nevada. And one of the things I figured out living in Nevada is like you can't escape the state. Like you can't escape the government. You go to Nevada where there's like, where it's very laissez-faire, and you still have overreaching government. You still have the government everywhere policing you into oblivion. Like, you really can't escape it. Well, flame shield. It's resistant to ice. I guess that makes sense. Like the flame shield would make you resistant to ice. The south side of Des Moines is called Little Italy since a lot of Italians used to live on that side, but they don't really have that big presence. It's kind of like you go to Chinatown in San Francisco, you're like, oh, it's Chinatown. You look around, you're like, where's the Chinese people? It's like, they left. You know, a couple of them still have restaurants there, but there's no Chinese people in Chinatown. What is there? Mexicans. Because it was the cheapest place to live. So all the immigrants, you know, the Chinese immigrants moved up in the world and moved out. And it went elsewhere. And then sold, basically rented, you know, property got sold and rented so that it just becomes rental property for Mexicans. Hey, that's just how it is. Whoa. Lots of fire here. Nothing in there. Whoa! The hill gigas! It's true for, you know, yeah. I had neighbors, like, reporting people for not, like, registering their cars and stuff in Nevada. I'd say LA, I mean, Vegas was just as bad as LA when it comes to people just hating. Everybody hates everybody else in Vegas. It's just, nobody's from there, everybody's from somewhere else, and everybody hates each other. In LA, it's basically the same thing. Everybody's from somewhere else, and everybody hates each other. Whoa, look at this guy. Let's see if any magic works on these guys. Flare. Try fire. You need to attack. Alright, so that didn't do much. Let's see what flare does. Yeah, San Francisco, I don't think there's any part of San Francisco that I would ever consider living in. Even the nicer parts, you hear nothing but people complaining that live there about, like, homeless people camping. You know, so you rent an apartment for like $3,000 a month, and there's homeless people, like, camping out below your window, like pooping on the doorstep and, like, leaving needles in the gutter. And that's just how it is. Like, why are there so many homeless people in San Francisco? Because there's a bunch of people with money there. They get a lot of people, a lot of tourists come in and come through, and it's a great place to beg. It's a great place to panhandle. There's also, you know, a lot of drugs there, so it's really easy to score the drugs that you need. So that's why there's a lot of homeless people. There's also no policing of of course, I take the golden shield off of him and he gets poisoned. Mexican town in Detroit is still mostly Mexican. And my grandfather's from Missouri. Originally. And he moved to Texas. And rest is history. Okay. Oh, well, now I'm here. Okay. Swimming in literal lava. There's a lava waterfall there. Okay. I gotta keep swimming in the lava to see if there's any loot. It's a nice weather. It's nice weather here. People don't realize how big and diverse California actually is. You know, we have the tallest mountains in the lower 48 here, and we also have Mostly farmland. It's still mostly uninhabited. Mostly empty space. Flame sword, okay. I think the sunblade is probably better than the flame sword. It is. Let's see here. You might be able to wear it though. I think his sword skill's kind of low though, so it's probably better to just stick with one weapon. I think. Let's check our status here. What's his skill level at? He has level 8 swords, so he's probably good. We'll whereas Sam's swords is 4. 8, 4, 1. Level 10 shields, level 9 swords, yeah. Level 7, okay. We'll give him the flame sword. It's a good weapon for him. Whoa! Gotta say, all things considered, I'm happy to live in Florida. I lost Trump, but my governor is based for the furthest away California you can get, and our crazy rep keeps normies away. Cities attract lefties who in turn attract diversity. Now, I think it's actually... so I think cities make people crazy, and I think leftism is a mental disorder. So I think people are more likely to lean left if they're in cities because they're disconnected from reality and they are mentally ill from living in a city. So I just see that the city itself is the cause of the mental illness, which makes people misinterpret reality. And the other thing is the city itself will also create leftists because nobody knows each other. Everybody is disconnected from each other. Everybody hates each other. So the only way that you can have that exist and like have any kind of society at all is with a really overreaching state. You can only have a really massive state because there's no interpersonal connections whatsoever. So you look to the state. Well, my neighbor Jose is a meth dealer and I hate him, so I'm gonna just call the cops on him. Or my neighbor Bill is an angry white guy and I hate him, so I'm just gonna call the cops and tell the cops this or that and get him locked up. There's no sense of community whatsoever. Everybody's from somewhere else. Everybody hates each other. You make good progress, but you must defeat me if you wish to continue your ascent. Uh-oh. Oh, he's a Gigas! Yeah, and this is the other thing, too. So, people are actually not that creative. So, I talk about living in the pod and eating bugs. And to people who don't live in the pod and eat bugs, it's like, that's crazy. The people who advocate for living in the pod and eating bugs already live in the pod and eat garbage. They already eat crap, They eat like frozen chicken nuggets from the supermarket because they live in a city where they can't get fresh food, they won't buy fresh food. They're on food stamps, which food stamps. Here we go, defeat him easily. Food stamps. You can buy good food with food stamps, but people who are on food stamps tend to just buy things that are easy to make. So urbanites don't really spend time, they don't live near agriculture. They don't buy good food. They already eat garbage. So the idea of eating bugs is not far-fetched to them because they're like, well, I'm already vegan, or they come in two flavors. I'm totally vegan, which you're already going to look down on anybody who, kills a cow and eats it. Or they come in another variety, which is like they eat nothing but garbage food all day. So eating bugs is not a big thing for them. They already live in a tiny apartment that they pay $2,500 a month for and will never get out from under their debt or anything. So living in a pod sounds like an improvement. It's like, well, at least it's cheaper and I can live, inside of this pod. So people that are like, I'm inspired by socialism. That's why I thought of this thing called a pod. These are people who already live just one step away from the pod. And so if you've never lived in the city as I have, you may not realize that. And likewise, the people who've only lived in the city cannot comprehend having space They can't comprehend having personal space. So they don't get that they're like people that live in the country. They think the people that live in the country are poor. They're like, these people, this poor farmhand, like the dairy owns a house, like the dairy by my house. Yes, it smells like cow poop, but it also smells like jobs. So let's see what we got here. Ice gloves. I'll put them on. Why not? They can't comprehend that guy making 30 grand a year. They're like, he's poor. Why would he ever? I'm so much richer because I make 80 grand. Yeah, but you're just funneling all your money into student debt and overpriced rent, living in a tiny apartment so you can say you live in the big city. This is like for middle class people. That's why like economic data is deceptive. The guy out in the country must be poor. He's like, he has a bigger house. It's paid off. He has more cash to spend. He can walk outside and move around. He has enough room to... Ooh, ice armor. Armor encrusted in ice. I don't think we actually need this. Maybe this guy could wear it. Yeah, he'll need the ice armor. It's better for him. All right. They can't comprehend that somebody who makes less money than them is wealthier than them. But that's the reality. It's like, why would somebody want to live out in the country where there's nothing to do? It's like, that the people who say that have never lived in the country. What do you mean there's nothing to do? I can go shooting. Like, I spend most of my time outdoors with my kid, like wandering around finding cool bugs and stuff. They've never lived a country life to know why someone wouldn't live rural. I saw another stairway there. I wonder where that other stairway goes. I wonder which one I should take. Let's do thunder. And fire. This might heal them, but whatever. We'll find out. The context is there's a bunch of articles. So here's the context of Live in the Pod, Eat the Bugs. There's a context is there's a bunch of articles where journalists are saying that you're going to live in a pod and you're going to eat bugs. Basically, a bunch of articles, and I'm just going to say it like the journalists who are promoting eating bugs are almost universally Jewish. Now, the reason I bring that up is because if you're a practicing Orthodox Jew, you will not be eating bugs because that's not kosher. You don't eat cockroaches and stay kosher, unless you're starving, in which case that's permissible by necessity, I think. But, in other words, you're not going to be eating bugs. Okay, but everybody else will have to eat bugs. I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but in this case, it's hilariously true. Let's see if this... Does this have a... Okay, so does this one... I think that one maybe had... Does this one have loot, or is this the way forward? I think this is the way forward. Let's go back to the other one that might have loot. I'm going to waste a bunch of time, but whatever. So yeah, they're one step away. They don't really... They can't really conceive of how other people live. That's why they propose these things. Like, they're isolated from the reality that everybody else lives in, that 90% of the surface of the earth that's inhabitable that people live in. It's like, imagine them going out to rural Africa or like rural India, like in a third world country where people like farm goats, and they'd be like, these people are dirt poor, and those people are happier than those urbanite bugmen. Oh, that's what I was gonna so you can here, hold on, I'll just link it to you. Where's this? I have a search bar on my website. Live in the pod. There we go. Live in the pod and eat bugs. You can read this story right here, guys, for free on my website. It's also in the new Krampus Christmas anthology, which should be exiting the market here pretty soon. I remember when we went to my mom's grandma's farm in Iowa. She was in her 90s when she died, and my dad and I went out of the fields and saw a big yellow spider in the corn, and we fed him grasshoppers. That's awesome. This is life, dude, and like real life happens outside of that city. Now, I liked living in LA for a bunch of reasons. It was close to the beach, which was the way that we experienced nature. Like, I lived a mile from the beach, and that was pretty cool. We were also close to Disneyland, and having an annual pass to Disneyland is actually very cheap entertainment in LA because everything, it costs $100 to go to the movies. It costs $100 a month for me and my wife to have Disneyland passes. So if we just wanted to do something on a Saturday night, we'd go down to Disneyland. All her friends had Disneyland passes. We could hang out at Disneyland. If someone was in town, we could take them to Disneyland. It was pretty cool. People live in cities because of the amenities, mostly. But therein lies the rub, because they think that the amenities are the stuff of life. Meanwhile, they're never spending time having fun in the city because they're spending all their time working their ass off to afford an apartment. And the thing is, it wasn't like this 35 years ago, let's say. Ooh. Oh, he killed himself. Ricard just committed seppuku. Yeah, it is dystopia, but people live that way now. The modern urban bugman literally is in a dystopia right now. You know? He's in dystopia right now. He just lives in the pod and eats garbage. Let's see if this ice lance is any good. It is. Let's give her a shield. Golden shield. Flame shield. Give her the flame shield. And formation. Bring Marisu back to the front. Back to the front. I think Universal Studios is quite boring compared to Disneyland. There's a lot of fun stuff in Disneyland. Gotta be honest, Disneyland's awesome. Get rid of this Gigas. Let's osmose one of these guys and get top off our mana. If my other guys don't kill him first. Here we go. Bam! Full mana. Have you heard what they're trying to do in India? Greta Thunberg accidentally posted a propaganda playbook for celebs to target Modi's regime with AstroTurf farm protests. Yes, I saw that. I've said before that Greta is just she's an abuse victim. Like, I can't. What's done to her is abuse. Nothing more. You don't put autistic children in the limelight and subject them to all that internet criticism and have it not be abuse. So she's a victim of abuse. She's an abuse victim. Her handlers abuse her for political ends. It's disgusting. Like, I feel very sorry for her. Like, we should treat her like an abuse victim, not... It's like, don't worry about debunking her points. She's just there to try to be a target you can't really... You need to target her parents and say, like, how dare you... Like, why would you subject your autistic daughter to this level of scrutiny? I would never subject my children to that amount of exposure. Not ever. If they're fully adults, they can decide that. But, you know... Especially a special needs kid. Putting a special needs kid in the limelight is fucking sick. Okay? I would never do that to my kids that I've taught, the kids in my family. I would never do that. It actually disgusts me. Like, I feel very sorry for her because it's not her. You know it's not her, and, like, this just proves it. The rest of us knew from the beginning. You know, pardon my French, but that's just how it is. And I think Biden has dementia. It is elderly abuse. But they don't care. Like, there is no moral standard for some of these people. You know, people in politics, and it's not just the left, guys. You know, it's not just the left. I don't want to be the guy that's like, it's the right too, but it is. You know, conservatives have conserved nothing because they're really all about Moloch. Or, I'm sorry. They're really all about mammon. They're about money. Whatever's going to keep them in power and keep them with money. That's why they never get anything done. It's why nothing politically ever works. We need to heal? Yeah, I guess we can. Heal up, everybody. Whoa! Yeah, I feel really, really sorry for Greta Thunberg. I think in 20 years you're going to hear about how, like, she's going to come out and talk about how her parents manipulated her and how she doesn't have a relationship with them anymore. Yeah, they'll discard her the moment they don't need her. I agree. I think you're right. Anyway, you could read that. You should read that story, Live in the Pot and Eat Bugs. I wrote it and people are like, you only wrote this you wrote this dystopian story 6 months ahead. You know, I wrote it 6 months ahead of reality. That's it, you know. It's not a whole lot of forecasting. People aren't that imaginative. Ice brand. Ooh. I wonder what that is. I guess it's an ice sword. Ice brand. Nope, we want flame sword. Maybe ice brand is better. Oh, it is better. We'll wear that. We'll use ice brand. There we go. That sun sword is apparently really good. It is the right two. The greatest illusion is that there's a two-party system. It's just one taking turns. Yeah, it's one and the other one facilitating the other. And you know, I made this point that like most political actions about like punishing enemies and rewarding friends, and that's really what it is. It's like you get in your compromises. You reward my friends, and I'll reward your friends. You punish my enemies a little bit, and I'll punish your enemies a little bit. And no meaningful change ever happens. And it's probably better that way. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, meaningful change is scary. Whoa, fire hits hard. Those vampire girls. You know. Yeah, I hate to be the guy that's like, oh, you know, it's a monoparty, but it really is. It's like, when Republicans have power, spending doesn't decrease. When Democrats have power, war doesn't decrease. Democrats usually start most of the wars, let's be honest. Vietnam. Was Korea? No? I have to think about Korea. It's probably equal opportunity, let's be honest. So nope. Fire. About to get real scary. Yeah, I mean, the Republicans are the Washington Generals to the Democrats' Harlem Globetrotters. That's why it's like they invite you on the talk show. It's like Jordan Peterson was like, I didn't learn my lesson to not go on talk shows. It's like, you're not there to explain anything. Like, they're not going to let you explain anything. You're there to be a mustache-twirling bad guy. Just walk away. Say no to the media. And you know, I'm not famous or anything. But if anyone in the mainstream media was asking me for interviews, my response is no, because my wife doesn't deserve to get calls from her family about what a mustache-twirling villain I am when they read about me in the New York Times. You know, I would never subject that to my family or myself. There's no good optionality, especially when you have your own platform, right? So if you have like PewDiePie, does PewDiePie need to talk to the New York Times? Why the hell would he? If you were PewDiePie, why would you ever talk to the newspaper? There's no reason to. Because you have a direct line to your fans. You just talk to them. You make good progress, but you must defeat me if you wish to continue your ascent. Conservatives by nature take on a defense role. You're right. Progressives take on an attacker role. Historically, those who attack always beat those who only defend. Well, that's partially true. If you look at the medieval period in warfare, the advantage is almost always to the defender. And that's because fortifications developed. So in that case, defensive warfare was more powerful than offensive warfare. That's why they built castles. And it's the same thing in other cultures at the time, Japan or China. Sufficiently advanced cultures where the defensive part was very strong. It was very difficult to hold and occupy any land where there were fortresses because it was very hard to take fortresses. That's different from, say, the classical period where people were living in mud huts, and it was mostly about, fighting them on the right terrain to kill them. Let's see if fire does damage to him. He's Ice Gigas. So, but yeah, like throughout most of history, like but if we put the medieval period to the side, then yeah, it's really hard to win if you're only on the defensive. Unless maybe like you're Switzerland. But like lots of countries that have been predominantly on the defensive have done very well, like Russia. It's very difficult. It's like, I'm gonna go attack Russia in the winter. Bad idea. It's also a bad idea to attack Finland in the winter. You read about the Winter War. Finland fought both sides. That's crazy. Go Finland. Newspapers have been garbage for a long time. I think they've probably been garbage always, and people are just more aware of it now. Thomas Jefferson did not have nice things to say about newspapers 200 years ago. So, if they were bad 200 years ago, they're certainly not any better today. What's it called? Gell-Mann amnesia? Where, like, you read an article where the journalist clearly doesn't understand anything, and you forget that reality when you go on to the next article without realizing that they don't know anything about anything. They're just as stupid about the things you don't know about as the things you know about. Elixir, that's a little bit useful. Refills all your health and all your mana. Costs like 50,000 gil. Not that matters, because how much gil do I have? 1 million. I have over 1 million gil. I don't even know what you spend it on. Fully agree, big changes are natural to a republic. Vast alteration of order led by the government are not only risky but also somewhat feared. Yeah, these guys absorb magic, I guess. Yeah. I mean, the thing about a republic is, like, you can't really have revolution. There's no such thing as... I should say there's no such thing. It's very difficult to have any kind of revolution without some period of dictatorial control. Even with the American Revolution, you basically have a period of dictatorial control where a few people held power. And then what's interesting about that is they transition to a republic. So a lot of military coups don't become permanent military things. But it's almost impossible to have revolution without some transition of dictatorial control. You had it in Roman Republic, various Italian republics in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. You have to have power concentrated in one person's opinion, or a small group, of people, triumvirate or something, in order to have a real revolution. Because otherwise, there's too many parties with too many demands. And there's too many, the power's too dispersed. So revolution doesn't end up happening because there's too many people committed to the status quo. I recently learned about a Japanese man who survived the Titanic. The newspapers made up all nonsense about him. I'm sure they did. Ethnic person survives. Ethnic person survives. Let's check out this wizard staff. I think I already have wizard staffs. Yeah. Well, let's see if it like is good. Mage staff. Put on my hat and wizard staff. Power, or wizard staff. Oh, there we go. Upgrade. All right. 7th floor. Man, we are just... Spider silk. I don't remember what spider silk does. All right. Here we go. $16. This thunder hit for 16. Killed the guy. Good job, Ricard. Even then, if you made somewhat good change, your greatest achievements have been teaching the population that only dictators get things done. Yeah. It was actually the Japanese newspapers that attacked him. Oh, saying he brought dishonor to himself because he dressed up as a woman to survive, which didn't happen. Dude just got in a boat. That's interesting. And that kind of jives with some of the like cultural flavor of the, say, the 100 years after the Meiji Restoration. There's this idea, like, you can read this book. It's called, what's it called? It's called Bushido or Bushido, which means the way of the warrior. Do means way. So Bushi means warrior, or soldier, the way of the soldier. Bushido, the soul of Japan. I'm trying to remember who wrote it. Here, I'll look it up real quick. Basically, this was influential. Bushido, the soul of who wrote it? Inuzo Nitobi. Yeah. It's this idea that, like, this is something inherent to the Japanese persuasion. It is kind of developed in Japan after the Meiji Restoration, where some of these ideas, it kind of became a reflexive thing. Very weird to stop and think about, but it's kind of what you ended up with. By World War II, this idea of, like, honor and dishonor, that wasn't really part of Japanese culture, even during the samurai period. There was that element, of course. But it wasn't quite the way that, like, the modern interpretation of it was. Hermes Shoes, interesting. Interesting. I wonder what does it do? Must have had them already. Hermes Shoes. There they are. Shoes with the same effect as haste. Oh, cool. It gives people haste. I don't have haste as a spell. That's a good one to have. You know, but I believe that. You know, it became this weird... I mean, if you read some of the history of World War II from the Japanese side, it's very strange. Basically, everybody was like... Everybody knew that they couldn't continue doing what they were doing, but they kept doing it because no one wanted to be the person to say that shit wasn't going correctly and shit was going bad. So basically the inept leadership just continued on with the war even though they couldn't win it. Because no one wanted to say that things were bad and that they had to leave China and stuff. wild, but I kind of get that. You think our republic would benefit from the same principles of justified lethal force and self-defense on an ideological level when attempts to damage the republic ideologically? I don't know quite what you mean with that. I believe that you should use lethal force and self-defense in general. Self-defense on an ideological level. I'm not sure what that means. I don't think in killing people for having different beliefs. Let's see what he turns into this time. Another Gigas. Darkness Gigas. Thunder Gigas. Let's hit him with some flair. Whoa, he's hitting for 9. He's not hitting hard. It seems like a thing that was only practiced among the warrior class originally. Then when the nation was unified, the state promoted it among the whole populace. Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it. Keep in mind, the last shogun joined the state. I mean, he was like a statesman after the Meiji Restoration. He didn't like commit seppuku or something, or like disappear from the earth. I'm trying to remember his name. It's not coming to me right now. It's hard to know every name from like 2,000 years of Japanese history. I'm sure there's somebody who's like so on top of it, they remember everything like that, but that's not me. Let's hit him with, what's he, Thunder? We'll hit him with Flare again. Let's see, let's try Blizzard. And, we should have done Aura. If one state doesn't follow the rules, the other two can sanction them. I would split Australia into 3 independent states. One for the Commonwealth, one for the Republic, and an Aboriginal Parliament. And all states cede power to the Magna Carta 2.0. Interesting idea. Saw your video about Final Fantasy X being on the Vita. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bought it and loved it. Such a fun game. Yeah, you can run the HD remake on the Vita, and the cross-save with the PS4 and PS3 works. So, like, I'm looking forward to that one because I can play it, like, on the go on my Vita, and I have the PS4 version, which is quite nice. So I can stream it from my PlayStation, or I guess PlayStation 5 if I ever get one. Which I'm like not caring really. Actually, I'm not really caring that much about PlayStation 5 at this point. I'm like, I don't really see a reason to get one. There's no, like, until Final Fantasy 16 comes out, I just don't see a reason to even care about the PlayStation 5 at all. Does it have any killer software? I think there's a Harry Potter RPG coming out. People might want to play that. I don't know. I don't know any reason to buy a PlayStation 5 at this point. It might be better to buy like the first hardware revision of it. Alright, off we go. Kill these lizards. Yeah, the Vita is this is a really cool system. Like, I'm streaming video off of it just to my PC. How rad is that? You can't do that with the Switch. The Switch, you have to get a dock and all kinds of stuff like that to get it to work. Do HDMI in to a capture card. It's a whole thing. This just, it picks it up like a webcam. Awesome. You could play Resident Evil 8. My PS4 is nearly dead, and I have no intention of getting a PS5. Games I'm interested in are few and far between. So, if you want my opinion on like what platforms, like what console should I get? I'm like, well, if you want the best games, it's PC. If you're gonna pick any two, it's PC and whatever Nintendo console. Even if you had Wii U and a PC, like 8 years ago, you had the best games on the market available to you. Pretty much universally. It's really all about exclusives, but Nintendo exclusives are always the best because they are the best first-party developer in video games. They make great games very consistently. So I would say own a Nintendo console and a PC. And if you had to choose one of those, the Nintendo console is way cheaper, and it has such a, especially with the Switch, it has such a strong installed user base. You're going to get ports of any game that's not a cinematic experience game for the PlayStation, you know. So all the good games ended up on Switch. You can get Dragon Quest XI on Switch. Dragon Quest XI, I think. So the two best games I played on the PlayStation 4. I'm going to narrow it down to 3. Bloodborne, which was a PS4 exclusive, was really good. I already looked in there, didn't I? I did. Dragon Quest XI, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy XII was actually the most fun I had on the PlayStation 4, along with Diablo 3, but none of those were current gen. Those were actually like ports of last gen titles. But Diablo 3 is on the Switch. Every good game that I played on the PlayStation 4, including Final Fantasy 12, I think there's a Final Fantasy 12 port on the Switch. All the good games are on Switch now. So, like, if you were going to buy one and you didn't have a console, it's like, buy the Nintendo. It's cheap. It's only like $200. It's portable. It's it's a handheld. It's keeping the handheld flame alive. But you also get mainline first-party games for it and a bunch of third-party AAA games. Now, you're not going to get the cinematic PlayStation experience. But to me, that's not what games are about. You know, that's not what makes games good. It's like the best games weren't the most graphically intensive. They really weren't. They were the ones with the best gameplay. Good graphics are important, but the Nintendo Switch has enough power to have good enough graphics. You know what I mean? Would you consider playing the PC Resident Evil 8 when it comes out? I mean, I would consider it. I love Resident Evil games. I got my PlayStation Resident Evil games loaded up on this. Let's play Resident Evil 2. That one was my favorite. Resident Evil 2 had such a great atmosphere when it came out back in the day. It was like a scary game. Same thing with Silent Hill 2. These games were so good. And actually Silent Hill, because of the awful first gen 3D fog, was like more effective. Yeah, broken Joy-Cons suck. All of my Joy-Cons have basically broken. It's the one... there's more than one downside to the Switch, but that's the big downside to the Switch. It's like the Joy-Cons... they don't hold up. Yeah, PC... But see, the thing about PC is that they're expensive. You get more, but you pay more. Like, I'm streaming on a PC now. This PC I built 5 years ago is still more powerful than PlayStation 5. Flare Tome. Whoa, look at these guys. Devils. These are called Gotos. Alright, Goto. Yeah. PC's the best. Like, you're going to get the best graphics, the best options. The downside, the other downside to PC besides the price. The price is high. The other downside to a PC is the fact that you're going to have to do a lot of work to make it work. You know, there's always some setting that has to be tweaked for your game to look right. You know, you turn on the game, it runs choppy. You're always having to fiddle with stuff. If you're a person who doesn't mind fiddling with stuff, PC's great. If you're a person that's like, I want to put in the game and have a game experience, I want to sit on my couch and relax and play a game, then just get a console. It's cheaper. All the best games are going to be available for console anyway. The only exception is MMOs like World of Warcraft aren't a console experience. But if you don't care about those, then there's not a big reason to buy a PC, being honest. So if you're the person that's like, I gotta have the best graphics, and I also don't mind constantly tweaking everything, then PC is definitely the best choice. If you're not that person, if you're a person that's like, I don't really know about computers, I don't want to mess with them, I don't like fiddling with settings, I don't like researching what hardware is the best, I'm not a tech head that watches like Linus Tech Tips or something and finds out about the best new video card, just buy a console. The great thing about any console is that you have the whole, basically, you have one set of hardware that's going to last for several years, which means all the software you buy for it is going to run at a certain standard for several years. You buy the hardware once and it's good to go. If you buy, let's say you buy a cheaper PC gaming rig, be prepared to be having that rig really chug and struggle. It's going to start really struggling after a couple of years. Unless you're spending a ton of money and buying ahead of the curve. Like, you can buy a $500 PC that's pretty decent. Maybe even one that's like almost as good as a PS5, or maybe even as good. I don't know. But the games are going to not run as good. Especially after a while. There are MMOs on console. So Final Fantasy 14, yes, you can play it on the PlayStation. As well as Elder Scrolls Online, you can play on the PlayStation as well. And I believe on the Xbox One is one too. Yeah. I forgot about DC Universe Online. I don't even think about that one. So yeah, there's several you can play on console. Now, if you guys really want to remember MMOs have actually been on console for a long time. Phantasy Star Online for the Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast, was a cool game. I didn't own a Dreamcast. My friend owned one. That was a cool game. And it was basically an MMO that ran... Oh, Monster in a Box. Whoa! Listen to that boss music. Boss time. All right. What are we gonna... Let's give ourselves some buffs here, guys. I have a feeling this one's gonna be pretty strong here. Blink. We'll try Blink. I love this music, though. Man, this music's awesome. It's way easier and cheaper to get indie games on PC. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. King of Fighters is going 3D? I don't want to hear that. I love my King of Fighters games. I don't want to think about them going... I don't know. Yeah. We have 3D fighters. We have Tekken, okay? Even Street Fighter is like 3D now. Eight-bit soundtracks have a certain charm that just can't be replicated on any other medium. I agree. Oh, he's dead. Let's get him up. There we go. At least Ricard got a bunch of upgrades from that. Alright. I guess he's finally getting some HP here. Power Sash. Or the... There we go. We'll give it to him. He's got plenty of defense. SNK sprites are always so beautiful. It's sad they're going to do... Yeah, I mean... SNK games were just so cool. It's okay. I mean, they've done a bunch of King of Fighters that are 2D, so... I mean, I wish they wouldn't do it. Like, stick to the sprites, guys. That's why we like them. We like those sprites. They could do just, like, high-def sprites or something, too. I don't know. Just go in a different direction. Yeah, I can raise Ricard's, like, HP just by, like, smacking him in the face. I'd like to get him over 1,000 HP, but I don't know. So yeah, if you like to just play a game, there's a ton of indie games on the Switch, actually. The Switch is pretty hot for indie games. So if you like indie games, the Nintendo Switch is a really good option as well. Okay, I think we're at the boss. Oh, it's Minwoo. All right, I bet we're gonna have to fight Minwoo. Let's just save here. The sub-pixel technique for Metal Slug is so clever and awesome. Yeah, I like Metal Slug games as well. And they didn't really abandon that too. Even Metal Slug XX, which was for like PlayStation 2, they kept the style. I've been waiting for you, Alex Jones. Though I've managed... Oh, I gave him a weird accent, huh? Though I've managed to reach the seal, the magic binding it appears to be extremely strong. I will concentrate every bit of power I have on the door. If it is enough, the seal should shatter. Everyone, stand back. Whoa. Uh-oh. Is Minwoo dead? Minwoo! Go through the door. You must take Ultima. Do not grieve. This was my destiny. Minwoo! There he goes. Man. We lost him. After he brought us back from health. Alright. Let me see if I need to actually drop one of these spells. Probably stop. No curse, we don't need curse. Yeah. Because she's gonna learn Ultima. If it's a spell. Okay, an orb. An orb. And an orb. Let's, I don't know what these do. More orbs. Okay. Let's try the golden one first. Crystal responds, I bestow upon thee the ultimate magic. You obtain the ultimatome. Alright, well I guess I was right to pick that one. Maybe I could have gotten the others first. I don't know. Sure is convenient that his body vanishes. Alright. Where is it? Ultima. Alright. We got Ultima. Seems like Nintendo learned a lot of lessons when it comes to third parties after the last couple console generations with the Switch. Plus, a lot of indie games are retro in style now. Yeah, I think indie games are more possible to be run on lower-end hardware. I think they really went out and promoted a lot of indie stuff, too. I'm not sure, where do we go now? I think we go back to the first town. Wait. Magic. Ultima. Let's see what it does. Ooh, it still hits hard at level 1. Alright. Use Ultima. Whoa. Waves! Ultima. My ears have been so messed up. What time is it? I probably need to call the stream. It's pretty late. Yeah, I've hung out way too long. It's okay. I was having so much fun clearing out this tower with you guys. I'm just talking to chat. Yeah, I love chiptune stuff. We're talking about 8-bit soundtracks. Chiptune stuff was something that like really crested a couple years ago, and I really liked it, and I liked a lot of the stuff that came out of that. I think I've done Ultima enough? I'll do it one more time. We'll start attacking and clearing these guys out. I think after we get this stuff, all the monsters in the world level up, because like these are stronger than the monsters I was fighting before. I love how you can cast these near nuclear level magic spells, but the boat remains undamaged. Tsunami 8. There we go. Getting rid of these sea dragons. The most meaningful thing you will ever do in a mega city is die in order to be fed back to your fellow humans. Oh, the Switch is a very easy system to develop for, which makes it so popular for indie devs. I haven't heard that because I don't know too many people that are developing for it, but I mean, it makes sense. I think it's a pretty like stock platform. Like it doesn't do any weird stuff. I think that kind of the days of doing weird stuff are probably over. Remember like the Emotion Engine? What was the other one? The Cell. You know, Sony always did like weird hardware. And PS4 came around and it's like, this is basically an AMD computer. We're using the same hardware as the other guys. I think the Switch is basically using the same hardware that you'd find on like an Android tablet, so it's pretty not hard to develop for. What the heck? I can't go in this town. That's interesting. Oh wow, these guys are all super strong. Yeah, like the world leveled up or something. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call it here soon, pretty soon though. I think we can go back to the. It must be needing to go back to like the capital city. Oh, he killed Ricard. Did he just osmose everyone? These guys are. Oh, two can play that game. Yeah, I guess we're not too welcome around here. Whoa, look at all the awesome loot. It's not really awesome loot, but a haste tome. That's really good. That's actually really good. Okay. I'm not sure. what we're supposed to do here. All right, I am going to... let's use our... have some just Phoenix down. No, we can just use life. There we go. I'm gonna save and we'll call it there. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy, Waylon. Take it easy, Jared. John. Alright. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. I do appreciate it, guys. I'll see you next time. And, yeah, I'll be back on in like 12 hours. I got to go to sleep. Have a good one. You want to hear Final Fantasy music, or yeah, we'll listen to some Final Fantasy music. Have a good one.